Blast his Hendons, he lied about it being stolen. So we have caught Hendon in a lie. Hello Fluffy Tails, I'm the Serious Squirrel and welcome back to Knights of the Old Republic. In the last episode we started a murder case which involves Rickard and Hendon, and we have the dead Caldernetic here, and we have to find out which of the two is the murderer. It's very delicate detective work, so let me just get into it again and we'll find out who is the suspect.
So, what do you want to know?
Did you know the victim?
Yeah, I knew him. Hell, we've known each other for a good long time. Doesn't mean I really have to have liked the slime ball. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on him, especially now that he's dead. We actually got along pretty well most of the time. We just had our differences. We were actually business partners. We were involved in some orbit-to-ground transport operations for Aerotech. Can I leave now? I should probably be the one to give the news to his wife.
I want to ask you something else.
So, what do you want to know?
Why were you out here?
I told you already, didn't I? Was hunting some areas. Haven't seen many in the area recently, what with those cat hounds acting up. But they're still around. Was in my blind a little south of here when I spotted one, like I said before. I shot and pow, it went down. But when I come over here, there's Handon standing over the body and the Iriaz was gone. Now I don't have nothing to do with it, so can I go now?
Not just yet.
So, what do you want to know?
Why would someone want to kill him?
You Jedi are so predictable, always seeing some greater purpose behind everything, when the simple answer is usually the right one. Can't you see that it must have been Handon? I found him standing over the damned body. I don't know why this is causing you so much trouble. You almost seem as lost as this Bullock guy.
That's all for now.
Right.
Alright, I know we already had this conversation, but I had to get myself back up to speed, so yeah. Let's talk to Hendon and find out what he has to say about the whole thing, because we have some more questions we can give him, and they are hopefully going to be informational.
How can I be of further assistance?
Did you know the victim?
I knew him a little bit, but I was not any sort of great friend to him or anything. I never really associated with him that much. In truth, I didn't really want to. He had a reputation. Very inconsiderate of family, I heard. But merely having heard unkind things about someone wouldn't make me want to kill him.
No one says you killed him. Yet.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit agitated. Why must we remain here? Can't you see that Rickard must have shot him?
I want to ask you something else.
How can I be of further assistance?
Why would someone want to kill him?
Well, you see, Calder was involved in some pretty sordid business from time to time. More often than not, I've heard. Disreputable business practices, even more disreputable clients. I've even heard he had dealings with a hut here on Dantooine. Now, I bet you're wondering if I had any reasons to kill the man, but I tell you, I hardly knew him. I saw him once or twice, yes, and I've heard some pretty unkind things about him, but certainly nothing that would make me want to kill him.
No one says you killed him yet.
I'm sorry, I'm getting...
Blah blah blah, that's all for now.
Of course. Listen, if you need anything, I shall be glad to assist.
Alrighty. Maybe the droid has some more information on the two suspects now, that would be cool.
Is there any other information you need?
What can you tell me about Calder and Hendon?
The Southwood Speeder rental business has records that over the past several weeks, a speeder had been rented by Mr. Netic and Mr. Gould. Is there any other information you need?
What can you tell me about Calder and Rickard?
According to the municipal authorities near the Garrow spaceport, there had been news of violent drunken activity in the cantina attached to the port. Apparently, a Mr. R. Lusoff was making accusations at a Mr. C. Netic about cheating him in a business deal. Jedi Tuka was dispatched to the scene and restored order. Is there any other information you need?
I will have more questions later.
Very well. I will be here to assist you.
Alright, they both knew Calder, and in this case, Hendon is certainly not telling the truth, so let's tell Oluk about it. Yes, is there something I can do to help you in this investigation? I want to discuss the murder. You know Rickard lied about the sun blinding him while he was shooting, but we need more to go on. Let's examine the relationship of each man with the victim. Hendon told me he barely knew the victim. On the other hand, Rickard and the victim were business partners. However, according to Rickard, they got along quite well. On the surface, neither man seems to have a motive of killing Calder. Hendon is lying. Why do you believe that? He rented a speeder with Calder. The Southwood Company's record did say that Calder and Hendon had rented the land speeder together several times. This shows that he did, in fact, know the victim, but this hardly counts as a motive for murder. I'm afraid I can't accept your judgment on this point. Superstition does not equal evidence. If you're unable to deduce the facts of this case, I will have to take these men to the Enclave and deal with this myself. Since you have talked to the suspects, there is no harm in you trying a bit more. Let me try something else. Very well, I believe there may yet be a chance of solving this. Where does the truth lie? Rickard is lying? Why do you believe that? They had a fight over business matters. It is not unusual for business partners to disagree sometimes, but if he found proof Calder was cheating him, things could escalate to violence. Well, that certainly is a motive for murder. The case is taking shape. However, we mustn't jump to any quick conclusions. Perhaps we should now focus on the murder weapon itself. You might want to see what information the witnesses and the information droid can provide you about the blaster found near the body. If there's anything else you need, I will remain here while you question the witnesses. I still think it's about Calder's wife. You know, both talked about her, cheating, stuff like that. Maybe. But let's talk to Hendon.
How can I be of further assistance?
What do you know about the weapon found by the body?
That blaster was stolen from my house last week. I never knew what happened to it. I hardly have enough money to afford a single blaster, let alone another. I can't tell you how important it is to have a weapon on hand with all these ravenous calf hounds around. Even an Irias can take a man down if it gets in the mood. Every settler has a weapon. It's our most prized possession. I would most appreciate it if I could have that back after you determine that Rickard is the killer. How can I be of further assistance?
You knew Calder better than you admit. You rented a speeder with him.
But I realize this must seem like a motive to you, but I assure you it isn't. I dislike Calder, true. I would punch his face in given the opportunity, but I would not kill him.
Punch his face in? Why?
My wife was cheating on me with him. I slept in my own bed while I was in the next room. But, as much as I may hate him for that, I could not kill him. It may have been my own fault for driving my wife away. I must try not to take the law into my own hands. I was just out running, trying to clear my head for the divorce proceedings, not stalking him to kill him. Running is not a crime.
I want to ask you something else.
How can I be of further assistance?
You wanted to kill Calder for having an affair with your wife.
Knock his block off, maybe, sure, but not kill him. No, no. I hope you don't find that incriminating. You know, normally I'm not prone to outbursts like that, but Calder, Mr. Medic, he was not a very nice person. Not a very nice person to me or my family. I had my suspicions for several weeks, but had no proof until 2 days ago. It seems Calder was seeing my wife, right under my nose, no less. But, as much as I may hate him for that, I could not kill him. It may have been my own fault. I was just out running.
Blah, 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 blah. We know that already. That's all for now.
Of course, of course. Listen, if you need anything, I shall be glad to assist.
Alright. It wasn't Calder's wife. It was Hendon's wife, actually. It's a whole other affair. Well, you know what? We're going to talk to Rickard, and maybe he's got some wife problems as well.
So, what do you want to know?
What about the weapon found by the body?
That blaster? Never seen it before. Calder himself had a preference for Echani weaponry. He had this one really nice light blaster rifle that he always used. Always wished I could get myself a rifle like the one he had. That blaster ain't it, though. Calder only had the one rifle, too, so he either must have borrowed that, or it's someone else's.
I want to ask you something else.
So, what do you want to know?
You thought Calder was cheating you.
Now, I don't love Calder, but we go back a long way. We run a suborbital shipping and transport company out of Garang Spaceport. We've been partners in that business for well over 20 years, and we've been doing just fine the way we are.
You can't deny it, but there was bad blood between you.
Right.
Right, okay, that's an answer. Right is always an answer. Kind of evasive and stuff like that, but let's talk to the droid.
Is there any other information you need?
Is there a report of Hendon's blaster being stolen?
I am sorry, but I seem to be failing you. I have searched and searched, but I cannot seem to come up with anything at all. I thought to find the record of the missing weapon report Mr. Gould filed with the authorities, but there does not seem to be one. Is there any other information you need?
Tell me about the weapon found at the scene.
We cannot get any more specific analysis from that sample, other than the fact it did not belong to Calder. Is there any other information you need?
I will have more questions later.
Very well. I will be here to assist you.
I think a picture is shaping up slowly but surely, Fluffy Tails. So let's talk to Baluk again, and maybe we can end this case now. Yes, is there something I can do to help you in this investigation? I want to discuss the murder. So, what have you determined about the weapon found by the body? Blaster's Hendon's. He lied about it being stolen. So we have caught Hendon in a lie. Interesting, but I think we may need one final piece of the puzzle. There was blood sample on the weapon that had been sent back for analysis just before you arrived. Perhaps you could inquire with the information droid about it. If there's anything else you need, I will remain here while you question the witnesses. Ah, come on! It was Hendon. But okay, we ask the information droid once more.
Is there any other information you need?
Tell me about the blood sample.
I have just received back an analysis of a sample of the blood found on the weapon. It had been sent back to the Emperor just before you arrived. The blood on the weapon is definitely not Calder's. Unfortunately, there was a bacterial contaminant in the sample that had been taken back to the laboratory, and it had become degraded. We cannot get any more specific analysis from that sample, other than the fact it did not belong to Calder. Is there any other information you need?
I will have more questions later.
Very well. I will be here to assist you.
Wow, that was helpful. Not at all. One tiny bit. Okay, let's talk to Baluk again. Blah 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 blah, I want to discuss the murder. I assume the blood on the weapon belongs to the victim, but I want to be thorough. What have you learned about the blood on the weapon? It didn't belong to the victim. That is surprising, so the blood must belong to one of the suspects, but which one? It's Hendon's blood. Why do you believe that? He's clutching his side. Hendon has been moving oddly since I arrived. Perhaps we should examine him a little more closely.
Hey, what are you doing?
There is blood! Hendon appears to have suffered some sort of blaster wound to his side. It seems there is one likely scenario. Rickard killed Calder for cheating him in business. While shooting Calder, he must also hit Hendon by accident. No, Hendon is the guilty one. An interesting theory, but what do you base that on? What possible motive could he have had? Calder was cheating with his wife. Yes, I concur. That is a good motive for Hendon to have. Hendon being the killer matches with the facts of the case as pretended so far. And so you have made your judgment in this case.
I can leave now, then?
Stay out of trouble from now on.
What? No.
Yes, Mr. Gould. Is there something wrong? Do you not feel justice has been done here? Do you not feel you should be taken to the Enclave for sentencing?
No. If I'm going, I'm not going alone. You don't know what you've done.
What do you mean?
Look, I came out here, I admit, to kill Calder, but so did Rickard. He must have thought it was Calder when he shot and hit me. So I'm going to prison, but I shouldn't be going alone. Did you idiots have to let the slime ball go?
It appears our investigations were incomplete. I imagine if we examine the business records, we will discover Calder has been cheating Rickard. That information would have been easily accessible through the information droid. You should have looked into it during your investigation.
Yes, you tentacle-headed moron. I came out here and killed Calder, but Rickard was here to do that too, and he shot me by mistake.
I will return to the Enclave with Mr. Gould in custody, and I will also have the authorities apprehend Mr. Lusov. It is a minor inconvenience, but one well worth the cost if you have learned your lesson here. You realized your judgment was incorrect, but I allowed you to make it so you could understand that there's always consequences to your actions. As a Jedi, you must always remember this. Good day, and may the Force be with you. Well, we didn't crack the case completely, but we cracked the case almost completely. Yeah, that counts. I think Hendon killing Calder is the real thing here. I mean, yes, Rickard shot Hendon, but Hendon killed Calder, so he's the real suspect. Ah, forget it. Alright. We did rather okay here, I think. We're not Sherlock Holmes, after all. Although Mission is a good Watson and Bastila is a good... Moriarty? No, forget that. Anyway, Flufftails. I think we're going to end the episode here. I hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please leave me some comments down below. As always, I hope that you come back in the next episode, and until then, I'll leave you with a hearty goodbye. Goodbye.